everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Big Bear, and today I'm gonna continue the series of cheat engine tutorial that I just created. In this episode, I'm gonna show you some like application of what we did in the last 3 video, plus the basic about some basic thing about reverse engine. So we're gonna go from like one thing that we think about what we want to do with the game, and then we turn that idea into a script and make it work. All right, so let's get started. Today we're gonna try, the goal gonna be like making the free craft over here. Right, we're gonna do a we're gonna make a script that gonna ignore all the requirement in this table right here. As you can see, we have a bunch of stuff in here that not craftable. We're gonna turn them all into like craftable stuff. Okay. So let's start with catalyze an idea how we go on. Most of the game, when we do crafting something, it perform a check whether that we have enough of material for that formula or recipe or not, right? And the easiest way to try that is to searching for 1 or 0, which one mean we fulfill the requirement, and then you change the condition by reducing the material for whatever reason, and then it's not fulfilled anymore. You search for 0, which means like it's not fulfill the requirement anymore. The thing is that for this game I tried that and I didn't find anything, so we might need to go with a different approach. Excuse me. Well, so we're gonna start with catalyze back to the beginning. Like I said that whenever the game checking for the requirement, right, it's gonna scan through your inventory and looking for the item that needed for that formula, and if you have enough, then it's gonna like make the recipe available, right? So to begin, and again, since we cannot verify like the boolean like true, for yes or no, we're gonna try to go in with the item quantity that make these thing available. So as you can see right here, I have this chest right here require 40 wood. I have 50, so that's why it's available, right? When I click on that one, it creates a chest, and then it become unavailable. Let me get into my throat. Anyway, so this gave me an idea of, okay, so the game at least scanning through your inventory to check for those requirements. So we're gonna start with the item quantity over here, right? Let's say, assuming I didn't find the item quantity, I'm gonna looking for like 10 and first scan in here. Right now I have 10. Split this one, now I have 9, and I found this one right here. So delete this one, and I'm gonna name this one item quantity, right? So I had this right here. If I change this to 50, go back to the game, you see the number go to 50 right here. Zoom in a little bit, okay? All right, so we're gonna do is like we're gonna find what function doing that check, right? And sometimes this method will work, sometimes it will not. It really depends on the games. And like I said in the other 3 videos, that one method might work for everything or might not work for anything. Okay, so we're gonna start with this one, and we right click on that. We find out what access to this address, right? This thing showing up. I'm gonna put it down here so it's kind of like easier for us to keep track of stuff. Go back to the games, and I see there's 2 functions in here. I want to X out, and you see that they stop tracking stuff, right? When I go back in there, it moving again. So now I know that these 2 functions, one of these 2 are the check that we are looking at. The check that kind of like, oh, do you have enough material or not? I do not know which one. So again, just like the other 3 video, when we talk about this stuff, it for test and trial, we try one. If it's not working, then we look for another one. Okay, so in this case, I'm gonna just try the first one. It does not really matter which one that you choose, because I would say when we don't know what it is, then whatever you can find is good enough. Okay, so let's try with this one again. If not working, we're gonna choose the other one. All right, click on show disassembler, and it bring me to this function right here. Right, lots of stuff right here. You're gonna get used to it as you know, right? As you keep going through this tutorial, basically that you're gonna get these opcode right here, instruction stuff like that. There's just a few of them that you're gonna see over and over and over. All right, now let's get back to this one. When I go to this function right here, what I notice is that when I going up and going down a little bit to see like is there anything interesting, right? When I going down, I see that has some return over here. Red mean return, and return mean like after the function is done, it go back to the other function that call it. Okay, that's just how computer science going. So I see two return right here. Now we do not really know are these gonna return to the same one, because this function can be called by other functions. So like let's say right here we are assuming that this function right here, this whole thing right here, current function, right? This function right here is called by the one that checking the requirement, the material requirement. But you know, it can also be called by other one, and that's why it had two return right here. One we want to first check is they are the return the same thing. If it's not, then it makes things way more complicated. So I'm going to put a breakpoint right here, tower breakpoint, or hotkey is F5. Right, go back to the game and the breakpoint trigger. Okay, so we're gonna go step over F8. Okay, and then it go to return one more time. It bring me to something over here. All right, so this code right here is basically called the code that called the function we just saw a few seconds ago. Okay, so I'm gonna put a bookmark right here. All right, now I go back to that function by just triggering it again and remove that one. Then I'm gonna put another breakpoint over here before the second return. Okay, go back to the game, triggering the thing, and keep running, and it return right here. So over here that it brings us to the same spot, right? When you right click on it, remember I did a bookmark. Well, I removed it. Anyway, so it's the same. That return us to same spot would mean that function already got called by this call right here. It's not getting called somewhere else. So it seems like we at a good spot right now. So let's remove that breakpoint and go to the function that calling it right here. Okay, so I'm gonna double check thing in here to see like how things going in here. I'm just gonna right click on this one, find out what address this instruction asset, and this thing showing up. So I cover this one, and I think video 2, episode 2, episode 3. Okay, and then go back in here. So I see that this thing right here only calling 1. All right, so I'm gonna right click on that one and open dissect data. Okay, new window, click OK, and this thing showing up, it automatically guessing the stuff for us, right? And you just keep click yes if anything popping up right in here. All right, now I going up and backtracking this thing over here to see what's going on, and everything was like RPP. These are the stack one. We cannot really modify much in those stuff, or at least in this video right here. So there's not much information I can look at over here based on this the thing. So this might not be a good one. Let's go back in here, and we looking for something different. I'm gonna right click on that one, show register state, and in here something showing up. So I see like RAX is holding 28 in hex, right? Mean 40 in decimal. Okay, and this one caught my attention because when I go through the recipe in here, I see that right here we have it requires 40 wood in here. Will this be the number that we're looking at? Let's take a look. All right, let's get back. Let's put a breakpoint over here and go back to the game, triggering it. So I see that it popping up right here, right? So that might be the one. Let's run, and then it's go to 1. So it looks suspecting to me because remember that when we look at the crap table here, you see like 40 and 1 and 20, right? And I keep going with that one, it go to 1E. 1E means 30, right? And let's remove the breakpoint back in here. There's no 30 in here, right? But the next one, there's 130, right? So it seems like this game is checking something in this one at this point over here with these. All right, so I just want to know like where is the RAX over here got registered. Now in the in computer language over here, RAX and EAX kind of similar thing. RAX means this whole thing right there. EAX is kind of this half, the second half of it right here. Okay, so I see over here that something from EAX were written into this stuff over here, right? And then this stuff over here get written into RAD, which means like the lower part of R8. All right, so I'm going up over here and I see that RAX have been used over here, right? So there may be something over here that after the call, it because when it show up RX plus 38, that means that this is a pointer, and when it go through this one, somehow that pointer turn into a actual value. So I know this call right here change the RX value, so I'm gonna put a trigger point over here. All right, quite complicated, so be patient with me. Go back to the games, trigger the trigger point, and then we're gonna step over, right, get to the call. We can step into the call, but for now let's double check. As you can see, RX right here is an address, and as we get over the call, right, execute the call of the function, it turned into the number in here. So for some reason that after get into this call right here, we got an actual value. So it's something going on in there, right? So let's trigger again, right? And this time we're gonna go into the call and see how thing goes. Now sometimes this call can be like a multiple function calling. So like you go to another function, and then from that function it call like 20 more different function, and that what we when things become very complicated. But there's no other way, so we have to try. All right, so when I go step into, and it brings us to one function over here. Usually when I get into a function like this, I'm gonna go up and down, see, okay, so it's actually the one function, right? I don't know what this function do yet, but I know, okay, this is the beginning of the function, and then I start going down. When you see the return after the whole bunch of stuff right here, one return, two return, that means this function is very short. And usually that when I decide, okay, I want to continue working because this thing gonna be simple. All right, so from the beginning, I'm just gonna step over, keep going, and keep watching RAX over here, see when will it change. And basically right now we're just running the game like one step by another step. All right, so over here I see that it's written something over here into RAX, right? And then we get another address. Okay, so just keep going. In here we get this one, put, and see after this instruction right here, RAX turn into a value, right? And I just keep going a little bit to see where it go. It eventually hit the return right here. So basically like this one run in here and then it return to where we go. All right, good one. So now we're gonna go to that call right there, right click on it, click follow in here, and then we're gonna track this thing right here, find out what address this instruction says. We're gonna do this a lot. Let's close this and bring back a new one. Okay, now I go back to the game and see a bunch of stuff loading in here. All right, so what do these things mean? I do not really know for sure, but for now I see something like 40 and 1, right? We have a 40 and 1 over here, and then I see some 20 and 20. So some requirements. This look very similar to somehow requirement. Now let's check what they are. So I know for sure that 40 is maybe one of these requirements for the wood, right? Just choose this one, open dissect data, click OK, and click OK again. Yes. All right, so in this one right here, I noticed that we have this an array over here, right? And you see 40, 120, right? Does that bring anything up? Over here we see 40, 120 at the requirement, 40 wood, 1 copper bar, and 20 stone. All right, so look like we at the right one. Let's try to change something in here. Let's change this 20 to a 0 and go back to the games. And wow, now my stone become 0. Right, requirement for the stone. How about I change this one to 0 2, and we need 0 copper bar. If I change this one to 0 2, then we need 0 wood, right? When I click on it, it makes the table without using any material. So awesome, we found the function where it gonna give us the an idea of kind of like how to create a free craft. Okay. So normally, like what you're gonna do is you're just gonna make an injection over here and kind of like zero out everything. So we're just gonna do that. Tool and auto assemble right here. Okay, so template. I have my own template, so I'm gonna use that so it make my thing easier to track. I call this one free craft 2, and then you see all the stuff that getting up. But if you don't have that one, just go template and I think it control this one right here. Yeah, so you're gonna go to IV injection, and then you call the name of function free craft. I named free craft 2 because I only have free craft 1. All right, and then we get into this stuff over here, right? Right, we trim it out a little bit. We don't need like 1,000 space, 100 space should be good enough. So in this function right here, what we're gonna do, we're gonna change this thing right here into 0, right? Because whatever in here were written into EAX. Remember that when we look at that RX and EAX are basically the same thing. Okay, but when we look at this value over here, right after this instruction, it turned EAX into like the requirement number. So this one is the one that holding our requirement material right here. So what I want to do, move, which means like copy. So we're gonna move with RAX plus RCX times 4 plus 10, right? Basically this whole thing right here with 0. So what this does is that it's gonna copy 0 into this pointer right here, and then when this pointer will executed, it's gonna copy that 0 value into EAX. Okay, so we go file and assign to current cheat table. Right, let's close this, and I call this free craft 2. Right, I'm gonna activate this one right here and create an injection right there. Let's go back to the game, and now you see everything a craft table, every single thing. Right, everything. I don't diamond window. Like this, line, other arrow. Inventory is full. I need more space. But anyway, that is how you create a free craft script with like some application of the dissect data, and then my introduction to reverse engine. This video may be a little bit complicated, but like as you following the step-by-step like I do in here, you will get used to it soon. All right, that should be it for today. Thank you for watching, and I see you in the next video.